he has caught more games and has hit more home runs than any other catcher in baseball. Please welcome Pudge, Carlton Fisk.
Carlton Fisk remains one of the most valuable players in the history of the MLB. He is celebrated for his incredible skill and distinctive style that captured the hearts of baseball fans everywhere. His performances on the field were nothing short of legendary, yet his career was not without its share of drama. Fisk's story also includes moments of controversy, from a DUI to high-profile feuds that made headlines. Carlton Ernest Fisk, known as Pudge and the Commander, is a legendary figure in Major League Baseball. He played 24 seasons for the Boston Red Sox and the Chicago White Sox. In 1972, he made history as the first player to be unanimously named American League Rookie of the Year. Fisk is most famous for his iconic game-winning home run in the 12th inning of Game 6 of the 1975 World Series, where he famously waved his arms, hoping the ball would stay fair. By the time he retired, Fisk held the record for the most home runs by a catcher with 376, though this record was later surpassed by Mike Piazza. He also set several longevity records, including the most games played as a catcher with 2,226, a record later beaten by Ivan Rodriguez, who also went by Pudge. Fisk still holds the AL record for the most years played at catcher, with 24. Over his career, he was selected to the All-Star team 11 times and won 3 Silver Slugger Awards for the best offensive player at his position. He was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2000. But Fisk's career wasn't just about his impressive stats and achievements. It was also marked by various controversies and drama, which ran alongside his storied career. Despite these issues, his impact on the game remains unforgettable. But before we spill the details, make sure to subscribe. Fisk's career was marked by intense rivalries, especially his ongoing feud with New York Yankees catcher Thurman Munson. One notable incident happened on August 1, 1973, at Fenway Park. With the game tied 2-2 in the top of the 9th inning, Munson tried to score on a missed bunt by Gene Michael. He charged into Fisk, sparking a massive brawl that lasted 10 minutes and led to both catchers being ejected. As John Curtis threw his first pitch, Munson broke for home plate. Michael missed his bunt, and the skinny Yankees shortstop tried to get in Fisk's way. Fisk, determined, elbowed him aside and prepared for Munson, who crashed into him with full force. Fisk held onto the ball, but Munson tried to lie on top of him to give Felipe Alou more time to score. Fisk kicked Munson off and began fighting back. In the chaos, Michael and Munson ended up on the ground with Fisk on top. Ralph Houck, the Yankees manager at the time, had to crawl into the pile to pull Fisk off Michael's throat. Fisk was also punching Munson underneath the pile, showcasing his strength and fierce nature. In another memorable clash, Fisk faced off against Lou Piniella on May 20, 1976, at Yankee Stadium. In the 6th inning, Piniella barreled into Fisk, trying to score on an Otto Velez single. The collision led to another brawl that saw both teams fighting. After things seemed to calm down, Red Sox pitcher Bill Lee and Yankees third baseman Greg Nettles started arguing, reigniting the brawl. Lee ended up with a separated shoulder, which sidelined him for much of the season. Fisk was also involved in a heated exchange with Deion Sanders on May 22, 1990. Sanders had drawn a $sign in the dirt and didn't run to first base after hitting a pop-up. Fisk shouted at Sanders to run and called him names. Sanders responded by bringing up a racial comment, which angered Fisk. Fisk confronted Sanders, insisting that the way Sanders was playing was disrespectful to the game. This incident further highlighted Fisk's intense personality and his commitment to playing the game with integrity. His feuds weren't the only controversies surrounding him. On October 22, 2012, Carlton Fisk found himself in legal trouble when he was charged with driving under the influence in New Lenox, Illinois. Authorities discovered Fisk unconscious behind the wheel of his car, which had ended up beside a cornfield. The situation led to a DUI charge against him. Fisk later appeared in court, and on December 27, 2012, he pleaded guilty to the charge. This incident was a significant and troubling turn in the life of a man known for his remarkable career in baseball. Fisk's early life laid the groundwork for his extraordinary baseball career. Fisk was born in Bellows Falls, Vermont, but he only came into the world there because it had the closest hospital to his hometown, Charlestown, New Hampshire. Raised by his parents, Leona and Cecil, alongside his siblings Calvin, Conrad, Cedric, Janet, and June, Fisk grew up in Charlestown, right across the Connecticut River from Bellows Falls. At Charlestown High School, Fisk was a standout athlete. He played baseball, soccer, and basketball under coach Ralph Silva. Despite his New Hampshire roots, he requested that the Red Sox Hall of Fame plaque correctly reflect his origins as a New Hampshire native, not a Vermonter. His early nickname, Pudge, came from his chubby childhood. On the baseball field, Fisk was versatile, playing third base, catcher, and pitcher. His brothers Calvin and Conrad were also talented players, with Calvin even being drafted by the Baltimore Orioles. However, Calvin's military service in the Vietnam War and Conrad's arm injury kept them from pursuing pro careers. Fisk also played American Legion Baseball in 1964 and joined a championship team in 1965. In basketball, Fisk was exceptional. As a sophomore, he helped Charlestown win the New Hampshire Class M championship. His impressive performance in a high school tournament caught the eye of Boston Celtics owner Walter Brown. Fisk scored 42 points and grabbed 38 rebounds in a state tournament game, earning a basketball scholarship to the University of New Hampshire, where he played both basketball and baseball. He met his future wife Linda Faust at UNH. In 1966, Fisk played summer baseball in the Cape Cod League and was later drafted by the Red Sox in the first round of the 1967 amateur draft. This opportunity led him to focus on baseball, giving up his basketball dreams, as he realized he could never match the height needed for a career with the Celtics. His professional career was extraordinary. In 1967, Fisk had a brief stint with the Red Sox in the Florida Instructional League. During this time, he struggled at the plate, hitting just .195 with no home runs and no RBIs in 47 at-bats. In 1968, Fisk played for the Waterloo Hawks, the Red Sox Class A team in the Midwest League. He had a much better season there, batting .338 with 12 home runs and 34 RBIs over 62 games. The following year, Fisk spent time with the Red Sox in the Florida Instructional League again, hitting .245 with 4 home runs and 19 RBIs in 28 games. He then moved up to the Class AA Pittsfield Red Sox in the Eastern League, where he posted a .243 average with 10 home runs and 41 RBIs in 97 games and 309 at-bats. Fisk also made his major league debut in 1969, playing in 2 games for the Boston Red Sox. In 1970, Fisk played for the Class AA Pawtucket Red Sox, where he had a .229 batting average with 12 home runs and 44 RBIs in 93 games. Fisk then joined the Class A Louisville Colonels of the International League in 1971. He batted .263 with 10 home runs and 43 RBIs in 93 games before getting called up to the Boston Red Sox. Fisk also served in the Army Reserve, completing his basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey, and later serving with the 393rd Service and Supply Battalion in Chester, Vermont, until 1971. By the end of 1971, Fisk was back with the Red Sox and earned a spot on their 1972 spring training roster. He broke into the major leagues early in the 1972 season, thanks in large part to Boston manager Darrell Johnson. Johnson taught Fisk how to lead and be a key player for the team, helping him understand the important aspects of being a catcher and supporting his teammates. On September 12, 1971, Fisk hit his first career home run off Detroit's Les Cain at Tiger Stadium. In 1972, Fisk had a standout season, batting .293 with 22 home runs and a .909 OPS. He also led the American League in triples, a category he was the last catcher to lead in. His impressive performance earned him both the AL Gold Glove and AL Rookie of the Year awards, with Fisk being the first player to win the Rookie of the Year award unanimously. He also finished 4th in MVP voting that year. An injury then came his way, but it couldn't hold him back. In June 1974, Fisk faced a major setback when he injured his knee in a collision with LeRon Lee of the Cleveland Indians. The injury required reconstructive surgery, and doctors initially told him he might never play again. Despite the grim prognosis, Fisk made an incredible comeback and returned to play just 12 months later. However, he re-injured himself during spring training in 1975 and didn't return until June. Even with limited appearances, Fisk batted .331 with 52 RBIs in just 79 games, and he helped the Red Sox win the AL East Division with a record of 95-65. 1975 American League Championship Series, Fisk was on fire, batting an impressive .417 as the Boston Red Sox swept the 3-time defending champion Oakland Athletics. His performance in the ALCS set the stage for a dramatic World Series. During Game 3 of the World Series at Riverfront Stadium, Fisk made his mark early. He hit a solo home run off Cincinnati Reds starter Gary Nolan in the 2nd inning, but the game took a controversial turn in the bottom of the 10th inning. Reds pinch hitter Ed Armbrister attempted a sacrifice bunt and collided with Fisk at home plate. The collision led to a wild throw by Fisk to second base, which allowed Cesar Geronimo to advance to third base and eventually score the winning run. Fisk and Red Sox manager Darrell Johnson argued with the umpire, claiming that Armbrister should have been called out for interference. However, home plate umpire Larry Barnett disagreed, and Fisk later admitted that he still believes it was interference. The drama continued in Game 6 at Fenway Park. Leading off the bottom of the 12th inning, Fisk faced Cincinnati relief pitcher Pat Darcy. Fisk swung at a pitch that appeared to be heading foul down the left field line. In a moment that has become one of baseball's most iconic scenes, Fisk jumped and waved his arms to keep the ball in fair territory as he ran to first base. The ball hit the foul pole for a home run, giving the Red Sox a 7-6 victory and forcing a 7th game in the World Series. Fisk reflected on this moment, saying, "The celebration of that moment has made me realize how popular baseball is and how it affects people's lives. It's still the greatest moment in my career. Fisk's dramatic home run also had a lasting impact on how baseball was televised. Before this moment, cameramen were usually focused on the ball's flight. During this play, NBC cameraman Lou Gerard was momentarily distracted by a nearby rat and kept his camera on Fisk instead of the ball. This incident highlighted the need for camera operators to focus more on the players, which has since become standard practice in baseball broadcasts. Then came the time to retire. Fisk had a standout career with the Boston Red Sox, being one of the top offensive catchers in the American League during his 8 full seasons with the team. His most impressive year in Boston came in 1977, when he hit .315, belted 26 home runs, and drove in 102 runs. In the 1978 AL East playoff against the New York Yankees, Fisk went 1 for 3 with a single in a narrow 5-4 loss. Some fans felt that Boston's loss was due to a rib injury that Fisk sustained, which also sidelined him for several games during the 1979 season. That year, Fisk primarily played as a designated hitter. Fisk was part of a group of Red Sox players who pushed for better pay, which didn't sit well with the team's general manager, Haywood Sullivan. When Fisk's contract expired at the end of the 1980 season, Sullivan sent him a new contract but mailed it just a day after the deadline, making Fisk a free agent. Over his 11 years with the Red Sox, Fisk was selected to 7 All-Star games, batted .284, hit 161 home runs, and had 568 RBIs. He struck out only 588 times in 4,353 plate appearances, with an on-base percentage of .356. On March 18, 1981, Fisk signed a 5-year contract worth $3.5 million with the Chicago White Sox. Although he had worn number 27 with the Red Sox, it was already taken by White Sox pitcher Ken Krivec. Fisk chose to wear number 72 instead, a nod to his Rookie of the Year award in 1972, and the year his son Carson was born. Fisk joked about switching teams, saying it was time to change my socks. On opening day 1981, Fisk hit a 3-run homer against his former team at Fenway Park, showcasing his new team's talent. Fisk helped the White Sox win their first American League Western Division title in 1983, hitting .289 with 26 home runs and 86 RBIs, and finishing third in MVP voting. He also caught Lamar Hoyt, who won the Cy Young Award that year. Despite a strong season, Fisk struggled in the 1983 ALCS, hitting just .176 with no RBIs. On May 16, 1984, Fisk achieved the rare feat of hitting for the cycle against the Kansas City Royals at Comiskey Park. However, injuries plagued him during the 1984 season, limiting him to 102 games and a .231 batting average. This led him to adopt a new training regimen, which he credited for extending his career. Fisk's Hall of Fame induction speech highlighted the role of White Sox strength and conditioning coach Phil Clausen, who introduced him to a more scientific approach to physical conditioning, including extensive weight training. Fisk often praised this training program for helping him maintain his performance and extend his playing career. A dramatic series of events left his fans perplexed. In 1985, Fisk had an extraordinary season, marking his most productive year ever. He smashed 37 home runs and drove in 107 runs, setting career highs in both categories. His home run count matched Dick Allen's 13-year-old White Sox single-season record. At 37, Fisk also tied his career best for stolen bases with 17. His impressive performance earned him a spot on the All-Star team, won him the Silver Slugger Award, and he finished 13th in the American League MVP voting. On August 4, 1985, Fisk played a key role in Tom Seaver's 300th career victory, catching all 9 innings of Seaver's complete game at Yankee Stadium. Fisk also caught Bobby Thigpen in 1990, when Thigpen set the record for the most saves in a season with 57. In 2005, Jack McDowell credited Fisk for his development into a pitcher who won the Cy Young Award in 1993. After the 1985 season, there was talk of trading Fisk to the New York Yankees for designated hitter Don Baylor, who was unhappy with his role and wanted a trade. The potential deal fell through due to complications, including the need to re-sign Fisk as a free agent and get both players to agree. The White Sox ultimately re-signed Fisk, and he stayed with the team for the rest of his career. Meanwhile, Baylor was traded to the Boston Red Sox in spring training 1986. On August 17, 1990, during a doubleheader in Arlington, Texas, Fisk broke Johnny Bench's record for career home runs by a catcher. He hit his 328th home run off Charlie Hough. Fisk ended his career with 351 home runs, a record surpassed by Mike Piazza in 2004. Fisk still holds the American League record for home runs by a catcher. In the 1991 All-Star Game, Fisk became the oldest player ever to get a hit, demonstrating his longevity. His final season was 1993. Fisk and the White Sox had a dispute over his contract, which led to a tense situation. Owner Jerry Reinsdorf called him a prima donna, but they eventually reached an agreement. On June 22, 1993, Fisk broke Bob Boone's record for most career games caught with his 2,226th game. He was later surpassed by Ivan Rodriguez in 2009. Just 6 days after setting the games caught record, Fisk was unexpectedly released by the White Sox at age 45. He learned of his release in his hotel room during a road trip and was ordered to return to Chicago immediately. The release was abrupt, and Fisk was even thrown out of the White Sox clubhouse later that season when he came by to wish his former teammates luck in the playoffs. Fisk was one of the few players who had played in both the 1960s and 1990s, alongside Nolan Ryan, and is one of only 29 players to have appeared in MLB games across 4 decades. During his 13 seasons with the White Sox, Fisk was selected to 4 All-Star games and had a batting average of .257, hitting 214 home runs and driving in 762 runs. Over his entire career, Fisk caught a record 2,226 games over 24 seasons and played a total of 2,499 games. He also appeared in 41 games as a left fielder, 27 games at first base, 4 games at third base, and was a designated hitter in 166 games. Fisk's career stats include a .269 batting average, 376 home runs, and 1,330 RBIs. Fisk mentioned his conflicts with Reinsdorf in his Hall of Fame induction speech. He was inducted with a Red Sox cap, but both teams retired his number, 72 by the White Sox in 1997 and 27 by the Red Sox in 2000. In 2005, a statue of Fisk was dedicated at U.S. Cellular Field. By 2008, Fisk had officially rejoined the White Sox organization as a team ambassador and a part of the White Sox Speakers Bureau. His legacy defines how great of a player he was. Fisk holds several impressive records and achievements in Major League Baseball that highlight his exceptional career as a catcher. He is the oldest catcher in MLB history to hit 20 home runs in a single season. Not only that, but he also holds the record for the most home runs hit after turning 40 years old, with 72 home runs. Fisk is renowned for his durability and longevity, having played a record 24 seasons as a catcher, spanning from 1969 and from 1971 to 1993. When he retired in 1993, he held the all-time records for the most home runs by a catcher, with 351, and for the most games played as a catcher, with 2,226 games. During his career, Fisk caught 149 shutouts, placing him second all-time behind Yogi Berra among Major League catchers. He is one of only 7 players to have caught more than 150 games in a season multiple times, joining the ranks of Jim Sundberg, Randy Hundley, Ted Simmons, Frankie Hayes, and Gary Carter. Among catchers in the Hall of Fame, Fisk stands out for having the most hits and runs scored. One of Fisk's most notable records is for catching the longest game by a catcher. On May 9, 1984, he was behind the plate for all 25 innings of the White Sox's 7-6 victory over the Milwaukee Brewers. Fisk's defensive prowess was on display as he threw out 4 runners attempting to steal during that marathon game. Before this, the longest game by a catcher was 24 innings, shared by Mike Powers, Buddy Rozar, Bob Swift, Hal King, and Jerry Grote. Fisk also finished in the top 10 of American League MVP, voting 4 times, and holds the 10th best slugging percentage in Red Sox history with .481. In 2000, he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame and chose to wear a Boston Red Sox cap for his plaque, despite spending more seasons with the Chicago White Sox. Both teams honored Fisk by retiring his uniform numbers. The White Sox retired number 72 on September 14, 1997, and the Red Sox retired number 27 on September 4, 2000. Fisk is one of only 10 people to have had their uniform number retired by 2 different teams. In addition to his on-field achievements, Fisk was a finalist for the Major League Baseball All-Century Team in 1999, finishing 3rd in the voting. He was also named to the Chicago White Sox All-Century Team in 2000 and was recognized as the greatest New Hampshire athlete of all time in 2004. Fisk's legacy extends beyond baseball. His famous home run in the 1975 World Series is featured in the 2004 film Mickey. Additionally, footage of Fisk's iconic home run appears in the 1997 movie Good Will Hunting, during a scene where the character Sean McGuire, played by Robin Williams, reminisces about meeting his wife on the same day as the game. In May 2008, Fisk returned to the White Sox organization as a team ambassador and member of the team's Speakers Bureau, continuing to be a valued figure in the baseball community. That is it for this one. But if you happen to like MLB Legends, make sure to check out our latest videos on our channel MLB Icons. I'm sure you will love it.